How's it going, everybody? We got the Shadow King trial details for you today, and you know I love these events. I absolutely love the legendary events because we can do so much theory crafting in them to hit high scores, do higher difficulties than we ought to be able to, and I just love solving that puzzle with you guys. I also really like the idea of getting Shadow King early on my free-to-play account because I need him for Battle World. I need him for Null. I need him for those Astral nodes, and because he's a legendary character, we're going to unlock him right away as soon as this event goes live. So let's read into this. We got the interdimensional nightmare turns into a strike commander's dream with the upcoming arrival of Shadow King Trials. This is your first chance to unlock and power up the legendary Astral controller, who is a must-have for Astrals, Battle World, and Alliance wherever it's. Yeah, I'm trying to get my really small Pegasus team to work on the mid account. On a difficulty 3, it's already tough on those nodes. I know that Shadow King with Moondragon and Doctor Strange, who I already have built up, they're going to be able to do the nodes. So that's what I care about the most, and I really want this guy unlocked quickly. So here's how we will recruit the Sovereign of the Shade. Upgrade tokens. So he's going to have tokens similar to Old Man Logan. So it's not going to be shards that you get from him. It'll be a token that awards a star level, awards a certain gear tier. It actually saves a lot of resources too, which is nice. The run scores. So run score is clear all nodes to earn the most points possible towards your run score. You'll have unlimited run score attempts and your highest score will be recorded. So yeah, we can do an attempt on a lower difficulty to get a quick unlock and then circle back once we see how the leaderboard is shaping up to put our best run in and put our best foot forward. Earning Shadow King's stars and rewards. So yeah, just like Old Man Logan. 4 yellow star upgrade token for milestone 8 or higher. 5 yellow star upgrade token for milestone 11 or harder. And the good news about Shadow King is because it's been such a long time since Illuminati and Annihilators came out, a lot of people are going to have them at higher stars, which should make this 5-star requirement or whatever is needed to hit this milestone a lot easier for a lot of players. All right. 6 yellow star upgrade token will be for the top 5,000 leaderboard, and the 7-star upgrade token will be for the top 500 leaderboard. This is going to be a competitive one, so we're going to want to put our best teams into action quickly here. Astral Force. Unlock Shadow King's red stars by collecting Astral Force. You'll earn Astral Force from the Shadow King trial milestones, Shadow King trial leaderboards, and upcoming activities in December. First run leaderboard. The first run of Shadow King's Trials features a leaderboard, and you'll only need a run score of 100,000 to qualify. Climb the ranks and don't miss out on the top rewards of 7 and 6 yellow star Shadow King tokens, Astral Force, Crimson Gear, Teal Gear, and more. I wonder if how many red stars we're going to see. I wonder if we'll see like 7 red star Shadow King for top 50 again. Difficulties and packs. Customize your runs by selecting a difficulty from 1 to 15. Higher run difficulties will narrow the character traits you can use, but they'll reward more points. You can earn additional points by activating packs, which can bolster enemies and or hinder your teams. Difficulty 5 and above will require the following traits. Mission 2, Illuminati. 6, Annihilators. Mission 10, your choice from Annihilators or Illuminati. Difficulties 11 and above will require the above teams at higher star levels. However, Captain Britain will have no star requirements. So there was concern about this. Can I use a smaller Captain Britain along with the star requirements? Because it was kind of hinted in the Captain Britain blog, and now we have the answer is yes. You can use Captain Britain, 3-star Captain Britain at all difficulties. Who do we recommend? We do recommend bringing him at the star level required of the other characters, but the choice is yours. Commanders, here are the requirements for non-Captain Britain characters. Difficulties 11 and 12, 5-star Illuminatis. Difficulties 13, 14, and 15, 6-star Illuminatis and Annihilators. So they changed it up. It is a little bit better than the Old Man. It's not a lot better than the Old Man Logan. That's 300 shards you need to max out characters at the end. That's a lot. Even my mid-game account will be able to at least attempt difficulty 15. But I'll warn you guys, difficulty 15, the Old Man Logan trial, was not a walk in the park. It took a lot of skill expression and to have the right characters built up as well as you could, right? I expect that a 3-star Captain Britain, he may not be required, like it's not a requirement that you have to bring him. I think that we're going to need to bring him for what he does on his passive, and I think you're going to want him as big as possible. So keep an eye out on those passes as they come out. All right, here is the list of packs for the Shadow King Trials. Right, this is the good stuff. We got the enemies gain life. These are the ones you equipped at the very, very last second if you're trying to push us for a higher run score. Forged in Fire. All Crucible abilities are active during this round. I kind of expected that with Illuminati. Are You Not Entertained? All Arena abilities are active during this round. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because the Annihilators too. Magneto was right. Mutant villain characters deal an additional 15% extra damage. Cool. Mutant villain characters. Okay, well, okay, hold on, because that rings something interesting to me. Resistance is futile. When a tech villain character spawns, enemy characters lose 5% resistance. Villain, tech character spawns, enemy characters lose resist. Interesting. Very interesting. Dark Cosmic Rays. At the start of their turn, cosmic villain characters gain 5% speed bar for every positive status effect they have. Okay, so this is Annihilators, right? The entire Annihilator team minus Surfer are villains. So they're going to be getting speed bar. Let's see. For every positive status effect they have, is that their entire team or is that per character? So like, Guardian would have 3, right? But the rest of his team all have defense up. So are they getting... Wow, that's going to be interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Cosmic villains. There's other cosmic villains that we definitely want to keep an eye on tags, right? There is Mephisto. There is Skrull. So we got to keep an eye out for those characters. Devour. Bio-villain characters heal for 10% max health when they defeat an enemy. Okay, so Gladiator and Gore would fit this bill. That's very interesting. Villainous Momentum. When a character defeats a hero character or a player character, they gain 50% speed bar. We've seen iterations of this before. This is different. It doesn't, I think like our heroes will also get this. Like when our hero defeats a hero character, they'll gain it. Okay, yeah, it should read that way. Strong Together. Global hero characters gain 5% for each Avenger, 5% damage, sorry, for each Avenger, Wakandan, or Inhuman ally. So everybody but Captain Britain, right? And I guess Mr. Fantastic. Avenger would be Iron Man. And Hank Pym. Shuri's Wakandan. Black Bolt is Inhuman. Mr. Fantastic, he's not an Avenger. He's Fantastic Four. And Captain Britain, he's neither of those either. Okay, interesting. So we're looking at a total of 40% damage if we bring Iron Man. Okay, maybe Iron Man will see some play over Mr. Fantastic. That'd be kind of cool. All right, Shadow King Stars. Red Stars promotions for Shadow King arrive soon in the Elite Store. Keep an eye out. Oh, wow. Are they going to come right away? For Shadow King's power by adding up to 7 red stars using dark promo credits. Ready your roster for this important trial and recruit Shadow King to your Astral team. Well, guys, we're not just talking about the details, the packs, and all the dates and everything. Friday, November 22nd. We also have the required characters for the nodes. We're going to break that down right now. I'm going to give you my top picks for the characters that we're going to be using to unlock Shadow King. Alright guys, now this is a chart of the teams we're able to use on the various missions according to difficulty. And I want you guys to pay close attention, especially you new players and you mid-game players at mission number 1. Non-restricted, and it's non-restricted all the way down. The reason this is super important, we saw this on Old Man Logan, this was a way for newer players or mid-game players that don't have the other input teams, a way to circumvent what the event requirements are, but still unlock the character. I think that is super important here. So what the strategy is there is you go to difficulty 14, difficulty 15, throw a bunch of packs on, and use like your strongest, best teams. For Old Man Logan event, lots of people were using Extreme X-Men, and were using Spider Society, and there was no raid rules in that event. And they were able to walk through the node. I think this is probably done intentionally because you need to unlock Shadow King. You need him for Battle World. This is super important, and they probably want all players currently playing to get him because you do not know when Shadow King will come back. The best strategy for people who don't think they're going to be able to do the rest of this event right now, my opinion, is build up either your Annihilators because they're the arena and they probably take priority over everything else, your Illuminati if you got them because they're the best Crucible team right now, or your Cabal. The reason I say Cabal is because Crucible rules are in play for this event, and there's other different packs that affect the Crucible team, giving them big buffs. And Cabal is also needed for the Old Man Logan event, right? So this would be double dipping across that board. So if that's your situation, those are my suggestions. Build one of those 3 teams, bang out this node on the highest difficulty you can manage, get your unlock, and go kick Battle World's butt. For the rest of these different restrictions, though, I want to break it down on a much more specific level, giving the characters that I think are going to be best for your journeys. Alright guys, so here we are on the Marvel Strike Force website, and I just want to talk about who I think is going to make the cut for your Illuminati team, because Marvel Strike Force is a team of 5, not a team of 6. So who is going to get the cut here? Well, we did see a pack that is giving buffs for each Avenger, Iron Man Hank, Wakandan, Shuri, Inhuman, Black Bolt. So that leaves Captain Britain, Mr. Fantastic. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to get subbed out because there's a pack, but we should kind of analyze what these characters bring and see if they are going to get cut. Let's start with Captain Britain, because I know a lot of people are wondering, should I still bring a 3-star Captain Britain in with me if I'm doing difficulty 15? And I think the answer is probably going to be yes. Because if we look at the bottom of his kit, these two lines, speed is king, right? The speed of this character in each Illuminati ally can only be reduced by slow. So if there's an enemy Emma on the node, you will not get affected. That could 100% come into play when we're doing this trial. But even more importantly, in Crucible, speed bar cannot be filled or reduced by any character for themselves, allies, or enemies. If there is a scroll on the opening node, you are gonna want your Captain Britain. Furthermore, Captain Britain has 2 stuns and he gains a whack load of focus, an absolute truckload of focus when he is above 50% health. So he will likely land those stuns. So I don't think you want to sleep on Captain Britain, even if you have at lower star levels. I know my free-to-play account is going to have him at 3 yellow stars, hopefully 3 red stars by then. And I'm building him up now because I do think he's going to be absolutely crucial in pushing the higher difficulties. Which leads the question, what about Mr. Fantastic? What is he going to bring to the team? Well, he has a turn 2 stun. He does have an ultimate that is amazing damage and clearing defense up. But most importantly on his kit, he is calling assists now to Namor, She-Hulk, Random Fantastic Four, or Illuminati ally. And if assist now is applied, clear blind from that ally. So a lot could play in here. And that doesn't even count what else he is doing, which if I apply this T4, he is going to be giving 60% focus and resistance to the Illuminati. That shouldn't be ignored, guys. It absolutely shouldn't. So, will you sub him out? Well, with Arena in play and Crucible in play, there are a lot of characters that could kind of stop what Mr. Fantastic does, right? We could see enemy Gores on the node. If there's an enemy Gore, that's going to stop the assist now because it will act as if the fight is happening in Arena, right? So that could be a reason why we sub at Mr. Fantastic for Iron Man. It's only these 3 characters, the only ones we really want to talk about. When would we sub out Mr. Fantastic for Iron Man? Iron Man's not a bad character. I know a lot of people sleep on him, but he is a very, very good character for this team. He applies defense down for them, which they sorely lack. I think besides Shuri, they could really use the defense down to up their damage, and he is a constant source of it. But he's also a source of energy. So if we go down and we see his special, he's going to be prolonging negative effects, and he's going to be generating energy for them. And then his ultimate, he will also generate energy for them, and he does a whack load of damage. And on his passive, he will actually be giving Illuminati characters 20% crit chance and crit damage. So if we just need to go in on the nodes and just let loose the dogs of war, that's going to be the way to do it. It'll be Iron Man over Mr. Fantastic, especially if there is a Gore on the node and you have the arena pack turned on. This, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. This is a good sustain team. Priority build here will for sure be Hank Pym number 1. His healing is going to be super clutch. Shuri, she's going to be really important on the damage front. Black Bolt, Captain Britain, and then one of the other 2 is what I would strongly suggest. This will shift if you have a big Captain Britain. Like I have a maxed out Captain Britain on my main account. He becomes number 1 at that point because his damage, his out-of-turn damage, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, let's go talk about global villains. All right, guys, that brings us to global villain. Now, we have some big names in the global villain section. Of course, you see Apocalypse in action here. Can never discount Apocalypse with that Falcon Punch, with his turn 1 AoE trauma buff flips, his special absolutely healing people like crazy. Cannot sleep on him. Emma, with her speed reduction, that could be interesting, though I don't think she'll get play. Who I do think is going to get a lot of play are these guys, the Cabal members. I think the Cabal members are so dang interesting. So if we go to Cabal and we look at someone like Iron Patriot, he's going to do a lot of what Captain Britain does, right? So when he has 2 or more Cabal allies, enemies with vulnerables cannot fill speed bar for themselves. But he also does a lot of what Mr. Fantastic does, gaining assists now on each Cabal ally's turn. And when he does his basic, he's putting defense down and slow out there. Like, this is the type of kit you need to keep your eye out for when you're doing long form content. But he's not alone on this team. Namor's on this team. He prevents enemies from getting death proof. And more importantly, on self or villain, he's going to be on Team All of Villains, crit, he'll barrier for 5% max health, and he's going to apply speed up to self and all Cabal allies. Accompany that with his turn 1 damaging AoE turn rewind. It's kind of a crazy kit. And then Leader comes in, of course, he's doing just fantastic healing, calling in assists, granting energy, and giving just ridiculous buffs. Every 5 charge, gaining 5 crit chance, 5 crit damage, 5 block chance, all the way up to 50 charges. that's some big buffs. So I really do like the Cabal team there. But besides just that, if we go back to Global Villain, we also have another team with new stats that you guys should keep your eye out for, especially because you probably built them up really high for both raids and for Battle World. And I am, of course, talking about the Orcus team. So if we look at our Orcus characters, they got the new stats. We have insane turn bar from Scientist Supreme, right? She gets that 50% turn bar. She then covers the enemies in a bunch of debuffs, but not her team. And her team just scales crazy, right? And the MVP of this team, oddly enough, is Sentinel. Because in a long form combat, like a Scourge event, like a Trial event is, those summons, they're going to be everywhere. And Nimrod is going to be popping off super duper fast. So I really do like Orcus here too. And because we do have to do 2 of those nodes, right? So global node is going to be on node number 3 and node number 7. I do see a world where we can make use out of both a Cabal team and an Orcus team. That's really interesting to me. All right, let's move on to the next section. All right, it's going to lead us to the Brawler section, which actually is this section I am most anticipating. Like, I'm super excited to see what this is going to be like, because we had a Global Blaster section once, and that was a really tough nut to crack. But once we got it, boy, was that satisfying. So I went through this, and I started looking for Crucible and Arena characters that are non-mythic that I thought were super interesting. So yeah, we can't use mythic characters here. Ultimus and Skrull, not in play, guys. But we have some banger characters. We have Black Cat. She does have some Arena callouts. For instance, on Arena offense, her basic ignores defense up. Her special does nothing there. Her ultimate, on the following, in Arena, if the primary target has Safeguard, she will gain Safeguard. She fills speed bar, she gains charge. In Arena offense, apply blind to the primary target and 1 random Spider versus enemy, so we can see how that could play into things. And then, enemies cannot spawn with Death Proof. This is on her Awakened ability, I should specify. And lower damage reduction for all enemies that do not have Death Proof. So Black Cat, with her Arena callouts, if we're using that Arena Pact, could see some really interesting play here. Other characters that I thought were super interesting, because of course I would, Deathpool. She does have that supercharged attack once she gets to 5 charges, and Crucible rules are in play. So we could see a Deathpool Gwenpool reunion, even if that's just for a burn attack to get somebody dead real quick. We could see Red Hulk back in action. We used him when we had the Brawlers for, I believe it was the Black Cat event, and that was really impactful. Nightcrawler, man, Nightcrawler with his speed up on spawn, turn 1 stun, giving speed bar, he's gonna be on the team. Pav, another speed up on spawn character, absolutely devastating special, putting slow out there. But who I think are the 2 most interesting, actually, Thanos Endgame and Vol. So Thanos Endgame, we do have to use in the Annihilator section, but I don't know if we're going to be able to skip him on the Brawlers, because he does have this tag that in Arena, enemies cannot spawn with immunity. If we have an enemy apocalypse on spawn, we are going to have to keep a close eye on our Thanos Endgame. He might have to come in so that we can actually control the apocalypse in time to get going. These are the kind of things that start going through my head. But why I like to pair him with Vol is because Endgame Thanos does have a turn 1 expose on a low cooldown, and Vol loves her exposed buddies. So if I go back here and we scroll all the way down to Vol, Vol's expose effect is so powerful, right? So she's going to be also putting expose out on her special, but every time an enemy with expose is hit, she's going to gain energy, and eventually she's going to let loose with her ultimate. Now, her ultimate can heal, it can revive, it does absolutely insane damage to the enemy, it'll wipe waves. Like, this is a really powerful ability that I think you should be keeping your eye out for when we look at Brawlers. My 5 current Brawler picks, by the way, are Black Cat, Blade, who you don't see on the screen right now, but yeah, Blade is here too. Why am I hiding Blade? Blade is on the screen here too. So Black Cat, Blade, Nightcrawler, Endgame Thanos, and Vol. I think there's a lot of sustain here. I think this is super interesting. And that does leave me characters like Spider-Man Pav to play with if I need a substitution. I'm actually super excited for the Brawler section and excited to know what you guys think about this. Because this sort of, it's a wide restriction, but it's also like off the beat, right? Like, it's different. So I'm excited to see what enemies they throw at us and interested to know what your thoughts are on this one. But let's head on over and let's talk about the next section. All right, and the next section is one that nobody expected because we're not used to them giving direct callouts to teams unless earlier specified, like they did with Annihilators and Illuminati. But we do have two nodes that are requiring one of two teams. Well, one broader bracket and one team in particular. And that is Undying and your Mercenaries. So you do have quite a few options here. But keep in mind, we did not see a pact for war tags. And because there's no war tags, I do think there's a clear winner here. And that's going to be your Mercs for Money team. Your Old Man Logan, Pandapool, Deadpool as that 3-piece is going to be absolutely crucial because of that revive mechanic that they just keep going off and off and off, right? With them, like Dawkins does so much damage, but maybe we'll pair Hela and Zombie Iron Man because then we have that Zombie Iron Man bleed effect. We have Deadpool, Pandapool, Old Man Logan fueling the bleeds. Hela's keeping Zombie Iron Man alive consistently, plus turn meter rewinds from her dying people. I'm not sold we're going to need both these teams. I'm definitely not sold that we're going to need Scarlet Witch, by the way. I know a lot of people are going to freak out because she was an epic character and she has like this amazing damage stat. But without War, she's good, but she is not doing that anti-speed bar that we were talking about, say Iron Patriot and Captain Britain doing from the Illuminati team. So I just don't see that being something that we need to heavily lean into. Whereas the Old Man Logan team, Old Man Logan, Pandapool, and Deadpool, the things I've seen that 3-piece do against like Annihilator's Skrull in Crucible, that's just going to carry over to the Scourge event. I'm actually going to have fun with this one for sure. If you haven't built up your Old Man Logan yet, you need to, okay? For sure. Pandapool, Deadpool, that's an amazing Crucible 3-piece. You will not regret investing in these guys. And keep in mind, although this comes out of left field, you need these teams for Battle World. There is literally a Herald mission with direct callouts to the Mercenaries here. So if you want to invest in the best team that's going to give you the longest life, Old Man Logan, Pandapool, Deadpool. That's your 3-piece. That's your combo core. All right? The Undying node in Battle World, you have other options you can do there, but there is a Mercenary-only node. So definitely, guys, if you want to double dip your investment, Old Man Logan, Pandapool, Deadpool, I promise you, this is going to be a phenomenal team. The one downside we could see here is the same thing we saw for the Illuminatis. Old Man Logan's biggest attribute is his speed bar gain and his assist mechanic. He gets 100% assist chance. A character like Gore can come in here with his arena attributes and just stymie that, right? But also Gore has a friend, another bio-villain friend on his arena team called Gladiator, and Gladiator will actually also stop this speed bar part. So that might have you thinking like, okay, well, if that happens, which is a big if, would I be better off with the Undying team? No, you wouldn't be. Because the same character that gives Old Man Logan troubles, the most troubles, Gore, also gives them trouble. Because Gore has the perma kills. And Gore does so much damage, okay? I definitely think the Mercs for Money team is the winner here. If you want to double dip as much as possible, that is my strong suggestion. But I think the best team is that 3-piece with a combination of Hela and Zombie Iron Man to make as much use of those devastating bleeds and the, self-inflicted damage from Zombie Iron Man's passive. If you don't know what I'm talking about for Zombie Iron Man's passive, he doesn't need to be that big, by the way, if there's no perma kills on the enemy team. Because his damage comes from this line right here. When an enemy takes damage from bleed, mind control that character to attack the most injured enemy. The mind controlled character attacks for 30% damage. This is, you don't understand how much damage it is until you see it in action, especially on something like difficulty 15, where the enemies are going to have insane damage stats. I think it's actually going to be a pretty fun section. All right, now let's move on over to the last section. Well, kind of the last section, the Annihilators. And that's going to bring us to the Annihilators, guys. Now, the Annihilators, like a lot of the other legendary input teams we've seen, there's no wiggle room here. There's no substitutions, but build priority is going to be important here. I think the #1 character you want as big as possible is going to be Thanos Endgame. We already kind of talked about this. He's got that expose on his special, and then he generates ability energy for 2 random allies that were not at full energy. And that's going to be super important for, I think, is the #2 priority build. And that's going to be your Gladiator. Gladiator is going to be super important in these trials. These are going to be long, drawn-out fights, and we might need this team for another node. Gladiator needs to be able to heal himself and heal himself well while taking hits, right? He's also going to be healing his team for 40% max life whenever he does his ultimate. So Thanos giving the energy, Gladiator healing people, that is going to be crucial. But at the end of the day, because we probably need this team to survive, to do difficulty 15, node 10, or at least help with that node, we probably want to build these guys as much as possible. This team does not have a revive. They don't have as much on-point healing or trigger healing as, say, Illuminati does. So keep that in mind through your adventures, because we do have that very last node, right? The last node where we get to choose between using Illuminati or Annihilators. Now, that is going to be kind of a tough choice, but it might not be, it might not be a question that we get to give the answer to. It could be which node is so hard that you just can't get through it. Both these teams will struggle in super long drawn out fights. We're going to have to see if that's what the developers are going to throw at us. What I will say is node 10 of the Old Man Logan trial was crazy. Had a Mephisto in the end, but even before the Mephisto, very, very powerful. And we only got through it because Cabal has an insane amount of sustain. I wouldn't be surprised if this, unlike the Old Man Logan event, is going to need both of these teams to survive to get through that final wave. We're going to have to wait and see. There's no way to choose which team would be the better team for that node without seeing that node. So what I'll say at the end of the day is you want to build your Illuminati team, whichever version you're going with, and your Annihilator team as big as possible, because they will be pulling double duty. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helps you in your Shadow King prep. We're going to be going through those nodes whenever we can get our hands on those, and we'll have even more directions to share with you then. But for now, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Stay happy, stay healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.